Pollsters and pundits take some heat when they are wrong. Well, this time they and we got it right. The 12th Congressional District special election was tight within a 1-point margin, as the polls predicted. It was the suburbs versus farm country. It came down to turnout. Republican Troy Balderson claimed victory Tuesday night. Late support from President Trump, Vice President Pence, and Governor Kasich made election night a happy one for him. While Democrat Danny O'Connor did not concede defeat, motivated Democrats and Republicans turned off by President Trump's personality and policies nearly gave O'Connor the upset. Both men know it'll be close again in November.
It's time to get to work. Over the next 3 months, I'm going to do everything I can to keep America great again. So that when we come back here in November, get ready, we got to come back here in November. I have earned your vote for a second time.
We're not stopping now. Tomorrow we rest, and then we keep fighting through to November.
Here's where the count stands. Balderson has a lead of 1,564 votes, less than 1%. But there are 8,400 possible uncounted votes still out there. Darrell, let's get to the remaining uncertainty over this election. Balderson right now has more counted votes, but there are absentees and provisionals out there. What will it take for O'Connor to surpass the election day total?
Just mathematically, he needs 57% or so of that 8,400 and change. Now, the trick is there's no way there's going to be 8,400 ballots that are remaining to be counted. That's the maximum possible. It's going to be less than that. How much less is going to be part of the trick. Some of these are provisional ballots that were taken on election day. Not all those are going to be considered valid. The rest are mail-in absentees. Those will not be counted unless they were postmarked before the election and arrived within this 10-day period that we're all kind of in now. So 57% mathematically, but he's probably got to get at least 2 out of every 3 of those votes.
If they were just in Franklin County, you'd have a
chance. Sure, because he did really well, did an impressive grassroots campaign in Franklin County with Troy Balderson, boosted by Trump, Governor Kasich, for the vice president, pretty much almost every top-level Republican you could name. Right now, it looks like he's pulled it out.
And Darrell did a very good summary in Wednesday morning's Dispatch electronic version of sorting it out. Darrell and I did a program on Wednesday, and I was very frustrated. The national media, like CBS at 8:02 that morning after the election, proclaimed there were 8,000 provisional ballots still to be counted. And of course, that was incorrect, because I know from being on a board of elections and doing a lot of recounts around Ohio that a large percentage of these unreturned absentees are people that either got the ballot, changed their mind, something else came up, or maybe they got it too late to return it, and they might have voted provisionally. So it's going to take quite an effort, and roughly 1,200 votes is the margin that might kick it into a free recount. But most of these counties are electronic machines where you have less errors, less things to argue about than if it's a paper ballot.
Right. The Associated Press decided not to call it for the reason that we don't count elections that are going to go to this automatic recount, which it has to be 0.5%. So right now, as you said, it's about it's less than that, 0.8% or so. So it's possible that enough could come in that it would trigger that. It might not even be that many, because as both of Darrell and Terry are pointing out, O'Connor would have to have this huge number of those. I mean, he prevailed in Franklin County, which is largely Democratic. There are a number of other counties in here, I think 6 or 7 other counties in the district, and all those are, the trend Republican. That's the way it was drawn. It used to be represented by Pat Tiberi, who used to overwhelmingly win this district, sometimes by 68% or so, and Donald Trump won the district by 11. So the narrow margin is important in that way.
So let's assume that Troy Balderson hangs on. Janetta, is this a moral victory? Is this good enough?
I am thrilled that we are talking about a race that is not yet called in a district that Trump won by 11. And that is pretty incredible. And I think that it really indicates that the blue wave is real. This is the first time that we could actually quantify it. We've seen the activists rise up. We've seen, the engagement in phone banking, Capitol Hill. We've seen all this energy. But the question was, what did that mean electorally? Were these people actually going to turn out? And for the first time, we can say, yes, there is something going on here. They are going to turn out.
But your candidate,
your
candidate still lost. Is this the best he could do? Is to keep it close?
I think it's winnable. He was outspent about 5-1 when you look at the campaigns and all of the other outside money. 5-1. The DCCC, the campaign that nationally supports congressional candidates, they got in very late here because I think everyone was wondering, is this for real? So being outspent 5-1, and he won't be outspent that much in November. I think that this is very doable for him to turn this around in November.
But let me do a Lee Corso and say, not so fast, my friend. If you look at actual candidate money, Danny raised a lot more because the Democrats did a great job of focusing money into his campaign from across the country in web donations, and he was buying as a candidate much cheaper than the outside people. And to be honest, some of these outside Republican groups that spent money did a terrible job in how they spent the money, lack of message. And I'm going to say something good about Danny. Danny and the Democrats did a better job of turning their base out. They started early. I mean, the Republicans screwed up in some of their mailings, in some of their efforts that they were supposed to do to get their vote out. So they've got a chance to make up for some of those. But I want to quote Mike Thompson at Wednesday's program at the Metropolitan Club. He said there was a Syracuse coach who once said, a win is a win is a win. And I want to second Mike's notation there.
He said a win is a win, and a win is a beautiful thing.
Okay, that's good.
But is it that beautiful when we still don't officially know who's won? And this is a district that is not just red, it's deep red.
Well, it doesn't matter that you beat expectations. You don't get seated in Congress by beating expectations or saying a second place win. It's going to be Balderson who goes to Congress and is the member of Congress.
This was a vote for a congressman, but this was also a test of the Ohio electorate. Is it the Ohio of 2016? No, definitely not, which means, opened up a lot of possibilities for November.
Well, and you look at other districts around the state where Trump did not win by as many as 11 points. The Steve Chabot district, looking at some of these others where, and all across the country, there are dozens of these districts. Now, will the Republicans be able to afford to defend all those seats? How many will go blue if this is indeed a trend?
Vice President Joe Biden said in sort of his little post-election analysis that by his, I don't know what numbers he was using, but this sounds right anyhow, which is pretty good for Joe Biden, that the 12th congressional district in Ohio was like the 68th most competitive seat from the Democratic perspective. So there are 67 districts that are have a more favorable political landscape. Again, just looking at the raw numbers going in than did Pat Tiberi and John Kasich's old district. So again, they didn't get to one, and that's first and foremost. But the trend lines don't look good for Republicans. And, is Donald Trump going to come back? Is Vice President going to come back? Is the House Speaker going to pour in so much money into one district? Is all this going to happen again for November? That's a big question.
And this fall, a lot of what's going to drive turnout is what happens in the governor's race, which is going to be the one that's the most volatile and where the most money is spent. So turnout-wise, I give the Democrats a lot of credit. They did a better job turning out their people than Republicans did, but the fall is different. And I remember and made note on Wednesday, sometimes I had a candidate in 2012 in Eastern Ohio. He won the Ohio House race, state rep race, by 7 votes. 2 years later, he won it with 70% of the vote. Different elections have different turnouts, different issues going on.
And he's an incumbent.
Yes, absolutely.